QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022 Reports, Print, Save as PDF, Export to Excel Part 1. Let's get into it with Intuit. QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. Let's get into it with Intuit. QuickBooks Pro Plus Desktop 2022. If you have access to OneNote, would like to follow along, icon, left-hand side, topic, introductions, 2180, reports, print, save as PDF, and export to Excel Part 1. Take a look at the Immersive Reader tool, topic, introductions, also in the text area, same name, same number, but with transcripts that can be translated into multiple languages, either listened to or read in them. Also have the same name and number as presentations, topic, introductions designed to give an introduction to the topic, provide screenshots, links when applicable, accounting background to complement the presentations, noting that the screenshots can be used to follow along with the presentations if you don't have access to the software at that time. Closing the icon, we're looking at the printing of the reports. First shot, looking at where we're going to save the reports on the desktop. In practice, you might save this into, say, a client folder, then break out the permanent versus the year-by-year temporary information. Reports might then be broken out by client and then by year in that folder. Then we're going to be listing out the reports that we looked at in prior presentations, formatting or looking at the memorized reports to give us a nice set of reports that we can think about memorizing to save them to the client information so that they're already formatted and we can just kind of go through there at the end of the month or the end of the quarter or the end of the year and generate these reports so that we can provide them to our client and or supervisor, whatever the case may be. We're then just going to go through these reports, which are already formatted for us, and then think about the options for saving them, which includes printing them, saving as a PDF or emailing, exporting to Excel, which could be used as a tool to put everything on one PDF file as well, which is a very useful technique. Highly recommend going through that to be able to utilize it. So we could then send them to a PDF, as can be seen here. Now note, it's a good idea to have a PDF printer. This is a free option, I believe. I'm not trying to advertise the cute PDF printer, but this is what I use. And if you do not have access to, as you do not to some reports, such as graphs, to save them as a PDF, if you have a PDF printer, you can use the printing option to save as a PDF. So I would recommend taking a look at some format of PDF printer. We would then save the item in our folder, renaming the item. It's going to be saved as a PDF. In this case, here's our item that has been saved to our folder as a PDF. Then once we have all of our PDFs put together, then the question is, how can we save them in the way that will be easiest to present them to somebody else? Notice we numbered it here as well. That can help it to number within the folder that we're then going to give to somebody else, possibly then helping them to open the reports in an order that might be as easy as possible. Now we're using the printer option to print the next report. We're going to be printing to the QuickBooks printer, and that's going to actually print it to a PDF rather than a printer, so we could save it as a PDF in that format as well. Back to our list of reports, we're just going to write down the list of reports, noting that we named them in here with the numbers 2, so that allows us to just open them in order and just save them to our report. So we're saving this report once again to the report that we have set up at the end, in this case at the end of the quarter. The next report, the summary comparative balance sheet, we're saving that one, just going right down the list to the balance sheet, saving the balance sheet as a PDF, right down the list to the next item, the vertical analysis, we're just saving that item, the comparative balance sheet, saving it. You can see that we're getting a large list of reports, just formats. These are all then made from basically a standard balance sheet. You can see that you can have a lot of options to provide reports to a customer or to your client or to your supervisor with just the balance sheet. And then we're going to add the income statement reports later. So then we've got all these reports. Now what we can do is we can attach all those reports to an email and give them to somebody if we want to, but it's probably nicer if we create another file and zip that file so that we can then give that attached report to them, which is a little nicer because now they can have one attachment with all the reports in it. It's still not perfect that way, however, because they still have to unzip those reports, save them somewhere else. As they save them somewhere else, the folder does have them numbered inside, which is nice because that'll help with the ordering. The next presentation, we'll go through a process of seeing if we can use the exporting to Excel and the Qt PDF printer to get all of those reports on one PDF file, one report after the other, thereby being able to attach the one report to, say, an email, which might be even nicer, a little bit more impressive, and might give the illusion that we're using more fancy software to kind of group these reports together in one PDF.